Hello, mic check, mic test. Everybody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, thumbs down if you can't. Or somebody? Okay. I will take the fact that nobody gave me a thumbs, meaning that you can hear me. So, today is the 22nd of August. It's been a very long time since we've done an AMA. And the reason is because I've been busy, globe trotting, working, trying to create value for Veritaseum, being a father, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm here now, and we have, for the first time, an organized list of questions from the fantastic, the bodacious, audacious, and quite valuable Telegram group. So let's give everybody recognition. And if you have any questions about Veritaseum, the Telegram group is actually quite utilitarian. I don't know the link, but I see Harm, who's definitely an administrator in the Telegram group. Harm, if you can post a link from the Telegram group to the Telegram group in the discussion in the chat, that would be most helpful. And everybody who wants a real-time answer to Veritaseum, please go to that link. Now, the Telegram group chat does have a lot of speculation and price talk. That is not Veritaseum. That's something that may happen amongst yourselves. But as I've said many times, and as you've agreed to by buying our tokens, Veritaseum is not an investment. We don't sell it for investment, speculation, etc. Okay? Now, I'll say hi to everybody, and then we'll jump to the questions. I see we have an outsized, at least according to historical AMAs, representation from Nigeria. And that's because I just got back from Nigeria the day before yesterday. But I see Crypto Space Media. How you doing? And Mike Dobson, and the article about Nigeria tweeted, does that mean you're approved to operate by their version of the SEC? And no, it does not. And it doesn't mean that at all. It only means what it says. So please, as you may be able to ascertain, we can get in a lot of trouble if we do things against the regulators. And if we don't say we're not approved by a regulator, that probably means we're not approved by a regulator. Okay, so please don't read into it. Okay, that's it. I'd like to say hi to everybody individually, but I can't. But since we're online, I see we have 111 people and counting. Everybody, please hit the share button, right? Share it to all your contacts and friends through multimedia. Please do that now. Everybody hit the like button, show your support, and at least act like you like us if you don't. And let's get to the questions, okay? And as I answer these questions from the Telegram group, feel free to ask questions directly through the chat as well. Okay, as a matter of fact, we're going to try and be productive, and I'm going to put the actual, pardon me, YouTube chat channel on as well. Okay? And I should have some assistance doing this because there's an office full of people. But we're going to play control freak for right now. Okay, first question is, what happened to the Jamaica Stock Exchange deal? Okay, I actually answered that question several times over in the past, but I answer it again. We ran into political issues, okay? There is more to it than that, but since that was a private deal and we're a private company, I'm not going to go past that and into it. Roughly a little less than a year ago now, we signed a MOU with the Jamaica Stock Exchange with a full intent to build out a digital asset platform for them. They decided to go with another vendor. That other vendor is from Canada. And, that's about the extent of it. Of course, I don't believe they made the best decision, but you do realize that I'm quite biased in that. What they are doing with that vendor is very different from what we propose and from what we're doing. So you get the opportunity to see a real-time difference in performance, time to market, capabilities, etc. And you can see where our P2P capital market solution differs, whether it's better or worse, or neither, from what they have in mind with their vendor. Okay? What did BlockStation do differently to make progress with the JSE instead? Well, I'm not privy to what BlockStation did in particular. I am familiar with BlockStation, but again, it's, It's a private company. It's a private transaction. Um, and as for the progress they made, if I'm not mistaken, Block Station is exactly where we were this time last year. An MOU has been signed or is purportedly signed. So I can't attest to the progress that they've made, but from public proclamations, they were where we were last year. Was Veritaseum able to learn anything from this going forward? I most definitely did. Unfortunately, I am not at liberty to express that lesson right now, but you could probably figure it out. Okay? Please silence that phone if you can. Thank you. Put it on vibrate. Will physical gold ever have custom Veritasium bars or will remain generic? Well, right now they're not really generic. They do have name brands, but we're very price sensitive. But we'll sell anything, Royal Canadian Mint, Swiss, PAMP, and or actual generic as long as they're LBMA certified or approved or close to it. And yes, we did price out Veritasium, custom Veritasium logos and stampings and designs. We have proofs of them that we approve of. I actually shared it with some of the admins in the Telegram group, but they have to be paid for. This is a real reality of the situation. You create a mint, proof, you make a deal with the mint, you stamp it with the Veritasium brand, and increase the price of the bar. Okay, so it's a matter of which is more important, the Veritasium branding or the absolute price of the bar. Okay, and we're looking into that, but there will definitely be at least a limited series of Veritasium bars. Has Reggie talked to countries about VE stable reserve usage? I talked to family offices. Okay, I didn't talk to actual countries. And the VE stable product, the VE gold product has more uptake than the VE stable for right now. Could be who I talked to, but the customer's always right. So if they prefer VE Gold at this minute, VE Gold is what we will vend and sell. What happens if very approved in USA only for accredited investors? If that's the case, then we'll have to sell only to accredited investors. You're not going to want to follow these purposes. You want to follow any laws, rules, or regulations. Will I still be able to purchase VE Gold if there is no exposure involved? I do believe that you can because VE Gold is not a security, and to my knowledge, at least the way it's implemented and advice of legal counsel, not under the purview of securities regulators. So there should be no identification or qualification that's accredited or not, or investor or not. VE Gold is simply a method of buying gold. So it's just as legal as buying gold and it should have the same parameters as buying gold. Of course, with additional flexibility because of the use of the blockchain. I have heard securities lawyers suggest that some ICOs to meet SEC requirements will need to detokenize, i.e. buy back burned tokens. Does Reggie envision having to do this? Well, Reggie's visioning has absolutely nothing to do with regulators' desires, wishes, and demands. I don't believe you should have to do this, but again, like I just said, my belief is one thing, what regulators say is another. It is my stance that is not the case, but full disclaimer, my stance doesn't sway regulators. I'm not a regulator, and I definitely don't run one, particularly one in the U.S. There has been a whale dumping tokens for the last several months. The wallet had roughly 10% of the circulating supply and has offed roughly 100,000 Veritaseum to date. Often this entity would sell tokens for below the market price. Do you have any insight as to why this type of activity would be occurring? Do you know who this entity is? Does this entity know something that the rest of us do not? I don't know who it is. It's a possibility. I may know who it might be, but that's speculation. I don't know who it is. I didn't look into it. Token prices in the market is not, my focus at all right now. As for why he may be doing it, the reasons that comes to mind is that he wants to sell the tokens. There's a variety, a wide swath of reasons as to why he would want to do it. As for why he'd sell below the market price, there's no real reason I could think of selling below the market price unless he feels that selling at market price didn't create the velocity sales that he needed. But that's pure speculation, okay? Selling below market price probably wouldn't increase velocity, but so much more. But that's pure speculation. So I have no idea. I don't know who he is. I don't know why he's doing it. I could just speculate. Or she may that, or it as a corporate entity, who knows? Does this entity know something that the rest of us do not? I couldn't even tell you. Um, I can say that with a significant amount of insider information, since I'm probably one of the ultimate insiders here. Veritaseum now is at the strongest position it's ever been since its creation, and that's a good thing, okay? And that's something I can attest to. Does Veri have a contingency in place to explore to replace F platform if and when it goes to zero and or is unable to overcome technical difficulties? On that note, I'd like to add that I think still too many people are concentrating on price and price speculation. A, that's not what we're here for. And B, that forces you or coerces you to take your eye off the prize. Okay, we're building a peer-to-peer capital markets platform. Okay, price of the token is irrelevant right now. We're building value, we're building a platform, etc. And to show how the price and concentrating on price, whether it's F or Veri, is taking your eyes off the price. Let's assume the price of F did go to zero. That means that Veritaseum gets to use this worldwide platform for no cost. So the closer it goes to zero, the cheaper it is for us to operate on this platform versus a platform that we'd have to build out to compete with the likes of JP Morgan's or the Goldman Sachs or the Deutsche Banks, etc. So the closer it goes to zero, the better off we are, particularly once we implement the VE Gold product and we decouple from the correlation of F that almost all coins have. That was a fundamental issue where even strong companies would get pulled down with sympathy with F and Bitcoin. As we break that correlation and you're able to rely on actual operating fundamentals and value, then the cheaper the Ethereum network is to operate on, the better for everybody, or at least the better for Veritaseum. So don't focus on price in the very beginning. Imagine in 1993, 1994, right? Even 1995, everybody focused on the price of IP, Internet Information Packets and the internet. You're focusing on looking at tree bark on a tree and you miss the entire forest ahead of you. Okay? So let's keep price speculation to the back burner and focus on organic value building because that's where the true value lies. Now, as for the contingency plan to replace F, if it goes to zero, I'll explain once we get VEGO implemented, which should be within a quarter. I would actually prefer for F to go to zero, assuming, of course, we don't rely on F as a currency or a store of value. Number two, if it's unable to overcome technical difficulties, then we move to a competing platform that is better with all things taken into consideration. Okay, that being the case, it's easier said than done because it's unlikely that there's a technical problem that the F platform cannot overcome that the other platforms would be able to overcome wholeheartedly. Okay, but the differences are not that great, and the greater differences would probably lie more in favor of the Ethereum network because the Ethereum network has several years of actual production operation and data operation. That's not taking anything from Neo, EOS, TRX, or anything else, but those are new, and while they offer significant improvements upon the problems of the legacy F network, that's looking in the rearview mirror. It's very easy to say you did X, Y, Z wrong, discussing in the past. So while they might have solved some situations or problems, they also have unique problems of their own, and that comes as part and parcel of starting a new business and a new platform and a new technology. So I don't pick winners. I don't have a favorite. I don't favor F. I favor the one that's best, the platform that's best for Veritaseum. We're platform agnostic. I don't care what platform we run on as long as we're running on the best. Okay? All that being said, in addition, most of the platforms, because F has a head start, are highly compatible with Solidity because they were designed to be able to get operations like me to jump ship at will. Now, I don't think it's that easy to do the whole operation, but we're able to move if the movement is deemed necessary. When VE Gold and Veda, VE Gold is in Veda right now. Go to Veda, go to VE Assets, and you can make a purchase, you can make a sale, you can make a redemption. We've had a redemption, we've had several sales. I'm sorry, we had a redemption, we had several purchases, and nobody sold yet. Who does the audit? There's no audit right now. I'm considering we just got started. Zambi launched. It's a soft beta launch. After the full launch, production launch, we will either pay an outside auditor, which is, we have to pay out of our pocket. That might not be my preference. Or I may give access to an API that shows real-time holdings. From an operational perspective, I could care less. I'm not really in the gold business. I'm in the peer-to-peer capital markets business. So I don't care if you redeem your gold or not. It's there. And I don't care if you buy it or sell it. You purchase the gold, it's yours. You do what you want with it. Okay. But from a business perspective, audits do cost money. The API solution in the longer term, I think, is a better solution. And with the API solution would be a periodic audit anyway. It just wouldn't be as often as the other audit. Okay. The name of the bullion depositories I'm not going to share. It's private. What is the name of the new jurisdiction? I was going to withhold that because if you haven't noticed, I'm probably one of the most, if not the most, of the open of the businesses in the space. And I do AMAs and I answer almost all questions, and I'm very transparent. And it's not because I have to. We are a private company, based in the U.S. and soon other countries, and we are privately and closely held. There are no shareholders, around in large amounts that we need to answer to. So this transparency is just to communicate with our customers and potential clients. That communication has been used against us more than once. And those who don't communicate have been proven to be right. And those such as myself who do communicate often, my actions have been proven to be detrimental to the operations of the company. Basically, I talk too much because there are bad actors out there who use this information against us. It's unfortunate. I'd love to be able to speak more, but the company comes first and the well-being. Now, with that being said, we have incorporated in, excuse me,
A jurisdiction.
and we have my compatriots who are saying a jurisdiction, but we've incorporated in a very prominent financial jurisdiction. We just got the incorporation papers back today, and that's after going through due diligence with their regulator. And there are billions and billions of dollars there. Okay, let's put it that way. They are at the top of their game, in offshore services, and we are looking to go with a full BD there as well, and or potentially there. And we're also looking to do a full BD in the U.S. That application's already been put in. I'm sorry, the full application has been put in. The application's been accepted, it's been put in. There's a long process with FINRA and SEC, but we're well on our way. Okay. We also have applications to requests to do business in several other countries as well, on the African continent. And we're looking to do the same on the European continent and on the Asian continent. So we are truly global, and we're moving on quickly. The African continent is looking very, very, very good to us. Very good. You're going to see some outrageous things that people thought were unbelievable and unattainable. You get to see what Africa's about. Let's see. Do we have updates on the Wall Street exec? I have updates, but again, it's private. It's a private individual. It's a private negotiation. We're towards the tail end of it, but I want to do the last bit of it in person. And I think it's the first or second to the last week of summer vacation. So, those of us who have children, whether grown or not, want to spend time with them. So that might get pushed off for the week. I'm not even sure if I'm going to announce them after we do the deal, sign the actual deal. But we will once he comes on board full time and gets launched. Like I said, trust me, everybody over the age of 40 at least, 45 would be very, very satisfied to hear his name. Okay? Because I, A, have a lot of respect for him, and B, the respect that I have for him is deserved. Very prominent name on the street. And again, we can't really count our chickens until they have hatched, so we have not signed a deal. And we're still working on it, but we both want it to happen. And we both want it to happen in short order. Could you provide updates on Ethiopian bonds? Yeah, I did. I did one bond, but the liquidity in the bonds and the other business aspects that came in took priority. So even though I did the actual technical tokenization, I didn't go forth and do that in mass because there were too many other opportunities that came up that had a higher priority from a business perspective. When asked for a very white paper, what is the best reference materials to point to? It all depends on who asks and what they're asking for. I think the most descriptive document that we have out right now, number one, we don't do white papers. White papers are academic theses. Most of them, just have nothing to do with promoting the aspects of our company, except for very technical, crypto people, and that's not our target audience. But if you go to the front page to the website, right under the video, there's 4 lines. Click here for X, click here for Y, click here for Z. The last one would say click here to learn more about VE assets or Veritaseum asset-backed tokens. Click that, you'll get the VE Gold document. That document is very well done in my opinion and very descriptive. It describes the software, it describes the actual token, which is backed by, that particular token is backed by gold, and it gives a very, very in-depth comparison of other ways to access exposure to that asset, to actually purchase the asset or to invest in the asset and to transfer it. It does a very good job and it shows the power of the peer-to-peer capital markets as done through Veritaseum and Veda. The questions are now coming about how much FBTC to send when attempting to buy VGLZ1, which is a very gold token. I understand that might not be very straightforward for some. We're working on that. We'll have the calculations done automatically through the smart contract or through the front end through JavaScript. Smart token calculation might be a little safer, but the smart contract back end might be a little safer. But either way, those calculations would be done automatically on the fly. Like I said, this is the first or second last week for a lot of people to spend with their families on summer vacation. And so I have several developing staff out on vacation. I'm a rough dude, but I'm not that rough. You have to give some time. People have to take time off. But come September, first, second week in September, we should have automatic calculations in. That's between 1 and 3 weeks from now, okay? And of course, if you want to buy, if you can't have a problem figuring out, just pick up the phone and call or send an email. Actually, it's even better. Just send an email and someone can give you walk you through it and give you an actual quote. Following questions. What is the reason that 98% of the total supply of Veritaseum is in the company's wallet? Okay, this question has been asked extremely often. Okay, we put 51% up for sale. A little less than 2% were purchased. The rest came back to the company. There's absolutely nothing wrong with any amount being in the company's wallet. Veritaseum represents prepaid fees for our products and services. Think of it as software licenses, and we sell software licenses. We have an inventory of software license. We're not like typical crypto companies that you're used to, and so Veritaseum holding its own software license is natural. It's to be expected, and it's going to happen. Okay. The reason why we didn't sell more in the beginning is because I don't think the buyers understood, or many other buyers who didn't come understood the value proposition. And that's good because we feel that our software licenses are worth more now than they were back then. So we can sell them for more. Okay? We sell them for people who use the software. They're not investments, they're not securities, and etc. What criteria must be met in order for additional supply to be released in circulation? Someone needs to have a use of it and willing to buy it, and the purchase has to be used towards something that we feel furthers the value and mantra of the company. Okay? For instance, we're not going to sell you $1 million worth of $1 million tokens to speculate in the market for trading, because that's not what it's for. But if you want to build an infrastructure, financial infrastructure in, say, Uganda, okay, perfect use of the tokens. We will save the tokens and we will send somebody in to assist. So that's the criteria. Will existing token holders suffer from dilution? I don't see how that makes sense. I don't understand the question. There's nothing to dilute from. The tokens are prepaid fees for products and services. They're not equities. They don't share a common economic pool of capital to be distributed. So there's nothing to dilute, just like there's nothing to accrete as well. Okay? Value can accrete when the software or the products and services that are prepaid for by the token increase in functionality. As they increase in functionality, then the value of the actual software increases as well, and the value of the prepaid tokens would increase because you've already paid for it at a set price, but what you paid for has increased in value. It's like buying a car, right? And the car has more functionality now than it did when you bought it. So you still paid the same price because it's historical, but now the car can do more. Why had Veritaseum thus far had difficulty getting listed on major exchanges? I don't know if we've had difficulty. We haven't tried to get listed because, again, we are running fintech consultancy, and exchange listing is just not part of the business plan. I can see there will probably be many more exchanges if they are using their head that will want to list our products. But again, that's not something that we're seeking. It's not part of our business plan. And we don't want to pay obscene fees. Like you're not going to pay anybody $5 million to list a token on their exchange where they make money. It's just, again, not part of our business plan. On that note, we've gotten a lot of requests for listing tokens, and I'll address those. And these requests have come from exchanges, not just users. And I will address those when I get the time to, because I think there is a use for it. It's just that trading, transacting, and everything has to be arm's length from Veritaseum, because one more time, that is not our business, not our business plan. Where can Veritaseum presently be bought or sold? From current holders of Veritaseum, and very soon offshore from the jurisdiction that I mentioned. I can't give you a timeline, but I anticipate it should be relatively soon, a couple of months. And if and when the broker dealer is up and running in the U.S., through the broker dealer in the U.S., the Veritaseum broker dealer. What are the plans for paying to be listed on exchanges in the future? It's the same as they are now. I am not paying an exchange to give them our valuable assets for them to make money. They should be paying us, actually. What is the utility of the Veritaseum token? Go to the Telegram chat, okay? The Veritaseum Telegram chat, which has about 2,000 members. Go there and ask them. They can give you a full explanation. Or you could go through our YouTube channel, and you'll see dozens, if not hundreds of hours describing that. What is the Veda? The Veda is probably, I shouldn't take up time going through that. You could go to the website, you can access the Veda, you can go through descriptions of the Veda, and you could go to the Telegram chat, and you can get full explanation from the patrons of the Telegram chat. The short answer is, it stands for Veritaseum Autonomous Distributive Interactive Research. It's like a smart contract-driven investment vehicle that creates a portfolio of potential investments powered by our proprietary fundamental research, top-notch, best in the industry, my belief, and it allows you to put capital into the software smart contract chain, and it will replicate that portfolio for you. Think of a private equity fund, a hedge fund that doesn't have a lockup and allows you to take direct delivery of the assets that it purchased and invested in. Very cool stuff. It also has a VE assets component that can tokenize assets. VE Gold is a perfect example. You go in and take a look at it. How do the fees work? Currently, it's a 5% flat fee paid in Veritaseum to access the Veda, and that's it. You can also use Veritaseum to access discounts on a premium to the VE Gold. So you get gold cheaper by using Veritaseum to buy down the purchase price. How does this compare to traditional hedge fund model? Traditional hedge fund model, 2 or 20, you pay 2% management fee on all assets, and you pay 20% on any gains as a performance or an incentive fee. So if you put $100,000 into a hedge fund, the hedge fund had 100% return, you would pay $4,000 in the management fee, that's a 2%, and you would pay $20,000 as 20% of the profit, and that would be the performance fee. that would be $24,000 versus a total of $5,000 by going in through Veda. So the 5,000 or 24,000, you're talking roughly 75% increase in price through going through the hedge fund as compared to the Veda. What hurdles need to be overcome for a Veda launch in the non-U.S. jurisdictions? Just compliance with the regulatory laws and education of regulators. Many jurisdictions don't have laws that apply directly, and many jurisdictions outside of the U.S. have wisely, and I applaud them for this, realized that trying to force digital assets into an existing or extant securities law framework simply doesn't work. It's bad for the business, the economy, the technology, and very difficult to enforce. So I applaud, those guys who decide to do it correctly and write their own specific legislation. Kudos and my respect goes out to you. What needs to be accomplished for USA jurisdiction launch of the Veda? The broker-dealer has to be launched and approved and launched. We're in the process of doing that. I can't give you a timeline because this is very new. We're doing things that weren't even possible before. I talk about conceived. And so remember that regulators never get in trouble for saying no for something new. You only get in trouble for saying yes and then having that thing that they said yes backfire. So with that note, regulators are going to be cautious. The more I think we educate them, the better they feel about it, because this is revolutionary technology, and parts of it, such as the provenance audit trail through the blockchain, is equivalent to manna for heaven for many regulators. From my perspective, that's my opinion, not theirs. Is Veritaseum building its own DEX? We built mini DEX within the Veda to assist in internal operations. And outwardly facing DEX we haven't built. We don't want to get into the DEX business because it's already quite crowded and populated. But if there's a significant reason for us to do it, we will do it. We may do it as a byproduct of services offered to a foreign exchange or sovereign entity as well. If not, we'll consider purchasing or partnering with one that's already established. I believe I've answered that. If there's a need to, we will definitely do it. We actually looked for DEX to purchase a few months ago. We couldn't find anything worthwhile that was priced reasonably. Remember, if you're going to purchase something, it has to be good, it has to be cheaper than it would be for us to build it. If Veritaseum is not approved for a BD license, would the acquisition of an already existing BD be considered? No, it wouldn't, because buying an existing BD is not going to be any different from building one from scratch. They have pretty much the same requirements. And when you buy one, you also get the legacy and the dirt attached for the one that you bought. So in certain circumstances, it's better to launch a fresh one than it is to buy one. But don't believe that buying one somehow expedites the process. According to our experience and our advisors, it does not. How specifically will Veritaseum disrupt the investment banking industry? There's a lot on that. So go through the YouTube videos. You can go and discuss it in Telegram chat. I'll try and participate, but I'll give you the long story short version. And the long story short version is we enter the space with a much lower cost structure. There's a structural deficiency in Wall Street culture in the city, in London, etc., where they basically pay their employees too much. Up to 60% of gross revenue goes to compensation. We run things via smart contract, etc. Smart contracts don't have annual bonuses or quarterly bonus hurdles to hit. They don't need to buy Azimut yachts, Maseratis, or mansions at the end of the year. And so they charge a lot less for their services. Basically, the price of F in gas and all servers. Okay, so we can take that 60% gross margin compensation level, 35% in the worst year, 33%, and we could drop it down, 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 very low. So think about 10% and 12%. Very difficult, very disruptive, particularly in the financial industry. And we can do that quite profitably, by the way. What is the makeup of the VE stable token? That's proprietary. How many sub-tokens does Veritaseum expect to have? As much as the market demands. We don't make widgets and put them on the shelves and sell them. We find problems and we create solutions and we sell those solutions. What is the relationship of Veritaseum to its sub-tokens? Veritaseum is a company. Sub-tokens are products, extended products that start with the prepaid fees, and we use the prepaid fees, the technology behind the prepaid fees, to create specialty products, such as the VE Gold token, which is basically digital gold. It's a digital receipt that acts as title or private title or claim to physical gold, which is owned by you and held and storage by Veritaseum and its subcontractors. What are some of the regulatory hurdles Veritaseum faces, and what is Veritaseum doing to overcome them? Education is number one. Licensing disagreements. We feel we create software, but the software, with the advent of the blockchain, the ability to escrow capital and smart contracts, low transaction costs, can mimic, replicate, and improve upon actions of many entities that were considered financial services in the past: banking, exchanging, brokerage, finance, etc., lending. What products are being offered by Veritaseum? You can look on the website and see. I don't want to take up time here with that. How far along are these products presently? We are very far along with many of our products. The VE Gold is trading right now with decentralized exchanges. We're offering it for sale. The only thing we're working on is the purchase experience, the user experience on the purchase. That would have been done already. The issue is that it's late summer and we have a lot of vacations overlapping. We have the Veda, which we described earlier, basically smart contract-driven investment fund with no investment lockup, not investment fund, investment vehicle software. It mimics the behavior of actual funds without being a fund. You have full control of your private keys and assets during most of the time. When you don't have full control over it, you have full visibility, tracked through the blockchain, lowest fees in the industry, backed by research. So we have our research is another product service. So I just named three. We have VE Rent, a rental facility for the tokens. That's four. And we have the tokenization process, where we can create bespoke, customized tokens for almost any asset: virtual, physical, financial, intellectual, real, hard. Okay? That's 5 products I rattled off just then. They're all out and running. You can actually go and play with them in spectator mode or full mode. Simply go to veritaseum.com and take a look. Okay? This is after just over a year after the ICO. Veritaseum is rocking. Okay? And I can say that with full pride. I thank the team for that, the entire team. We have about 18 members on the staff, full diversification, legal, technical, and software engineering, software development, UX. We have operational, ex-McKinsey, ex-Goldman, financial analysis, forensic analysis, CPAs. It goes on and on. Okay? Ex-banking. And we're hiring. We're looking to hire a lot. I have indications for like 20 people out, waiting for them to get back to me. So if you're in the financial industry arena, if you're in technology, if you're in legal, we're looking for a lot. We're looking for an EA, an executive assistant, looking for sales, looking for marketing. We're ready to go, and we're ready to go in multiple jurisdictions. Who is Veritaseum's ideal target market for business? That's too broad a question. The entire world is our market. If you buy, sell, or transact in value, then you're our target market. Depending on the product, we have first, second, and third. So family offices, ideal. High net worth individuals, ideal. Sovereign nations, ideal. Okay, even municipalities. What are the implications of the SEC determining Veritaseum token itself to be a security? Well, they're vary. So, in general, speculating on regulation is not a good idea because A, it's highly speculative. We will cross that road or that bridge if and when we get to it. Of course, I don't believe it's a security, but I'm biased, but I think I'm also objective. If this were to happen, it says if this was to happen, if this were to happen, would Veritaseum ever consider using the tokens to represent ownership equity in a company? No. if you want to do an equity offering, we do an equity offering, but we didn't do an equity offering. We sold prepaid licenses, basically, and it was very clear that we did that. You have to agree to a document that says that we're doing that in order to buy them. And the equity of Veritaseum is private and it's not for sale. Give me a second, let me get to the next page. You guys wrote a lot of questions, but that's good. What has been the cause for delay in the deals with African nations and the Jamaica Stock Exchange that once looked so promising? I don't see a delay in the deals for African nations. I don't know what you're talking about, so you got to clarify that. And I explained the Jamaica Stock Exchange. That was a political battle that appears that we didn't win. Okay? To put this in perspective, the stuff that we're working on, and we're very close to signing. And again, I explained we don't announce deals or prospective deals anymore because there are bad apples and bad actors in the community that use that information against us. It's unfortunate that you do that. You win it for everybody else. But at the end of the day, we're a private company. Our deals and transactions are private. And I'd like to be able to expound more on it, but I can't because we have bad people, knuckleheads. And, it's just that simple. I will still strive and plan to be more open than everybody else, but I'm not going to do it to the detriment of the company. We have employees to look after, we have stakeholders, etc. We have customers, okay? And the African deals look very, very good, by the way, very, very good. And I will announce those when I feel what I deem fit. Let's put it that way. How will governments benefit from Veritaseum? A variety of ways. Capital raising for infrastructure projects, FDI, foreign direct investment, building their own digital asset exchanges, being able to capitalize from the natural resources themselves versus shipping it outside the country, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Very, very, very broad and diverse way of benefiting and capitalizing on it. The tech and the business systems that go with the tech and sit on top of it. What are Veritaseum's plans to participate in other coin offerings in the future? If you find anything worthwhile, we're participating. The economic structure of the offerings are deficient for the most part, in my opinion. And we fixed that. We have a consulting service we're offering to help people put their offerings together where there's an economic incentive, either to invest in it or to use it as a utility. But that incentive has to be clear-cut and obvious. And that's what's missing with most coin offerings now, which we will assist in. We will also raise capital and invest directly in entities if we feel it's necessary, if we feel it works and they're worthwhile. What is being done to attract and retain valuable employees at Veritaseum? Well, we're pursuing valuable employees, and we are explaining and illustrating what we have to offer, and hopefully it works. We have a couple of strong prospects coming in. One of them, I told you I may announce in the next few weeks. He's a big guy, lots of respect for him. And we have a couple more in the pipeline, and we're looking for even more. Okay? The best way to attract talent is to execute. Okay? And the way you execute is, you do your thing. That's what we're doing. And yeah, on that note, I see we still have 221 people. If you haven't hit the like button, hit that now. Right? Hit it hard. Look at the camera shake. If you haven't hit the share button, share. Get everybody in. Let's share the love. I would like to see that 218 number of people online consecutively. I'd like to see it jump to 300. There's one enough of you guys to do it. You have 104 likes. You should have 150 likes in 3 or 4 minutes. So go ahead and do it. Our current employees of Veritaseum incentivized to go above and beyond the call of duty to perform at top levels. Hopefully, because they love Veritaseum, okay? But we have other incentivization structures that we're working on, and I'll offer them some of the obvious as well, okay? We're a private company, and I am not going to share that publicly because that wouldn't be a good idea. A lot of questions that you ask, realize you're asking of an entrepreneur and an entrepreneurial company that is private and not public. A lot of people are concerned about succession planning in the event of an unforeseen event. Have documents been drafted for seamless succession in your absence? Are those assets or corporate-owned life insurance that are allocated to ensure Veritaseum will have sufficient capital to continue on course? Now, doesn't that sound like a question that would be asked of a publicly traded company through an exchange, and that you probably never heard anybody ask of a private company before? Good questions, okay? But we're a private company. I'll answer the common sense portion of it. I'm working on succession planning, okay? We have to get the company up and running. The company is actually quite well capitalized. We don't need COLI to give liquidity in case things were to go awry. We shouldn't need it, but we're going to implement COLI anyway. But the reason we implement COLI is for a different reason. And for those who understand, COLI is corporate-owned life insurance. Okay, as long as it's attainable cheaply, we'll do it. But the company is more than enough capitalized at its current burn rate, and even twice its current burn rate, to execute and deliver on its business plan. At least as of now. Okay, you can't portend the future. And in answering this question, I've gone considerably above and beyond what I've seen any AMA do. Okay, I answer these questions because I have no reason to shy away from them. But do realize again, for some reason, there's attitude that the answers to some of these extremely private and central questions are old, and they're not. You know, if you're running your own small business, your own, let's say, dry cleaner, and someone were to ask you questions like that, particularly on YouTube, you know, you'd probably be resistant to answering them. So I just want you to keep in mind simple common business sense. But I'm proud of Veritaseum, and we're looking to plan to make this a significant entity going forward. Okay, will you consider having cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash inside of the Veda so that true liquidity will be available for large investors? Well, I don't think Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Dash provide true liquidity for large investors because they're relatively illiquid themselves. And we're not really looking for liquidity, we're looking for value. Oftentimes, significant value is found where there's no liquidity because the liquidity discount is too steep because people miscalculate. That, among many other things, means that we don't necessarily look for the most liquid assets. We're looking for the greatest risk-adjusted return on investment, and that's what guides us. The fact that most tokens inside of the Veda have extremely low 24-hour volumes could be concerning to large investors. It could be, but the Veda is not quite yet going because we're still building up the the investment inventory. Most of the new tokens going in are going to be operating cash flowing companies or companies that have significant assets, such as intellectual capital assets on the books. It takes a while to go through this, and it takes a while to find these companies, okay, and to value them correctly. So the Veda is up and running. The reason why we haven't pushed it hard is because the Veda is not even legal to operate in the U.S. as of yet. Okay, so let's not put the cart before the horse. The fact that most tokens are registered debt, is there the ability to have several different models and let the consumer choose which one they partake in? There will be several different Veda portfolios, and the consumer can decide which one they'll take in. And that will happen as we find the assets to put into the Veda. And again, most of these will be operating assets. A lot of the ICOs simply don't pass muster. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see maybe between 1 and 3 or 4 videos again. I asked quite a few ICOs that were there to pitch to investors for capital. Very basic questions: business model, investment thesis, prospective return on investment. They couldn't answer any of them. Okay, the ICO market, as it stands now, is not prepared. Is not prepared to deal with hardcore fundamental investors. We plan on changing that by addressing and finding companies who are strong business prospects, finding opportunities, infrastructure projects, etc., that make sense, and tokenize them through the Veritaseum platform and offering them. We may probably end up populating the Veda with our own offerings or assisted offerings, and then going to total third parties purchasing tokens that have already been issued. But either way, we're looking for, again, the highest risk-adjusted return on invested capital possible. Okay, now I went through all the questions. I've answered practically all of them except for ones that really don't apply. And again, I told you the danger because we have bad actors who take something that is very good for the community, open and transparent information, and use it against the giver of the information. So shame on you guys, but I can't control everybody's behavior. Let's try to answer some questions here before we go. I'll scroll back. This much to Colin Harkington. I want to say well done. My understanding is hazy, but I believe in the integrity of yourself. Thank you, my friend. And as a health professional, I'm attempting to understand this. Well, very good. Thank you for your patronage and your support. How soon people outside the USA will have access to the platform? If you're looking to buy gold, you have access right now. And I want to make this very clear. The VE Gold platform is available right now for purchase. Okay, and if we have to increase the supply, we will. Buy up what's there. We'll replace it in less than 24 hours. Okay, it's legal anywhere where it's legal to buy gold, because essentially what you're doing is buying gold. We cannot ship to companies that are on OFAC lists or that have been sanctioned, or to individuals who are on the OFAC list who have been sanctioned, or who basically won't pass AML KYC. You have the AML KYC to buy from us. You have the AML KYC to redeem from us. And you have the AML KYC to sell to us. Okay? Why 54 African countries should go in Pan-African Pact? Basically, why should the 54 countries participate in our Pan-African Economic Token? I'm assuming is a question. And the answer is because the sum is greater. The sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So basically, so you see how powerful the United States is from an economic, militaristic, and political perspective. We can do the same thing with the African continent. This is what Europe attempted to do through the euro, but in my opinion, they messed it up because they tried to force 17 disparate economies, central banks, currencies, legal systems, cultures, and languages together when they all operate at a different pace. And the result should have been obvious, and it's what you have. If you go to the YouTube channel again, do a Google search for why the euro is destined to fail, you'd see a whole series of 4 different videos done in New York at the Baccarat Hotel. I went through this in detail. Okay, and if you Google, go through the YouTube channel and their videos where I went through the Pan-African token and how powerful our United Africa could be. Even if we didn't unite 54 countries, we just united 4, extremely powerful. And I believe we have significant access in 4 already where we can get started. So we're not just talking this, we're doing it. We're starting with our own actual capital. And so hopefully we don't need to wait for anybody, but the more to come aboard, the better. When are you coming to New Orleans? I was in New Orleans exactly this time last year. My next trip, I don't know, but give me a reason to do it and I will show up. I think this is sweet dreams about Africa, and every country has your specific requests. Okay, make a request for me to come in as a sovereign entity or a large institutional entity, and I will show up or send somebody in my stead. How much capital can one very token trade in the market? That's dynamic, but if you go to the Veda right now and take a look at it, it'll give you the calculation. Right now, I don't even know, it's a dynamic calculation, but a very token is roughly 5. The active fee is 5% of the invested capital, but because the market fluctuates and the very market fluctuates, it's very, very dynamic. Hi, Reggie. I tried many times to contact Eleanor about volunteering, but no answer. What can I do? Eleanor's right here. Okay. It says, you're a fashionist, so it's no name. Eleanor's right here. Send her an email right now, eleanor.reed. Go to the team section of the page, send her an email. If you do it right now, she's here to answer your question. Monoclide, very stable coin, will be backed by what? The stable coin is a proprietary mix. It doesn't really matter what it's backed by because we're not selling the backing, we're selling the stability. The product is the stability, not the contents that generate the stability. So as long as it remains stable, it's doing its job. Okay, and a simpler version is the VE Gold token, which is backed by 0.99999 fine gold, and that's what provides that stability and market arbitrage, the ability to redeem it at will. We also have a VE Silver token. We'll launch that and several other metals. We're also looking at oil and oil indigenous to specific regions, which would be, again, same concept, title to ownership, redeemable at will, etc. But we're going to work out the kinks on the purchase, sale, and delivery system first, which is why we're sticking with VE Gold for right now. Hey Reggie, I understood your user case. What I did not understand so far is what does it bring us to hold of the coin from the investor side? Again, we went through, we're not selling these as investments. Okay? I never did. If you ever buy from us, that's the case. You're free to speculate on it on your own because I can't tell you what to do with your own time, but that is definitely not how we're selling it. Okay? And that's not how we're marketing it as well. Uh, okay. Okay. Um, Shalom, don't you hear this? Okay, you should make me mod Reggie so I can ban the trolls. Yes, please don't troll the YouTube chat channel. Let's be adults, okay? I'm not sure if you can have a moderator on the YouTube chat, but I'm sure we all are busy enough where we don't need to troll a Veritaseum live chat. You should have to have something better to do with your time. Reggie Gaffar here from Jamaica. You've done a great question so far with the team. Been following you since RT days. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Let's see if we can find additional questions. I'm going to sign off soon. I've been on here for 56 minutes and change. So last chance for any additional questions. I'm going to stroll through, see if I can find any. And I don't see any additional questions. I see. So on that note, I probably will sign off. I'll put my and I tried my best to answer all the questions. I believe I did. Any questions that you do have, go to the Telegram, the Veritaseum Telegram group. There's several. I recommend the one that has roughly 2,000 members in it. That's how I identify it. I don't have the URL memorized, but so we go to Telegram and type in Veritaseum. Okay, on that note, I'd like to say au revoir, Dos Vidania, and everything else. Okay, peace.